Hey, what it do, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again. Good early morning game day Sunday. Been waiting all week for this, guys. For the matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons at AT&T Stadium. First home game of the season for the Dallas Cowboys, and I think that they're gonna show up today. I know that a lot of fans are upset right now because of all the injuries and things of that nature popping up randomly. But again, I told you guys in the offseason that because of the lack of off-season program and no preseason, none of that, no conditioning and stuff like that until training camp, there are going to be injuries. A lot of teams right now got injuries, so nobody's feeling sorry for the Cowboys because every team is dealing with that. They're not dealing with nothing that no other team is not dealing with. Now, I also told you guys before that, all teams with new staffs are going to have slower starts than teams that had their stuff still implemented from seasons past. We know that loss to the Rams was a little hard. We know that, Sean McVay came in there and said, hey, we know the Dallas Cowboys have a very good defensive line. So that right there is when you see a team that knows that you have good players, that's respect. They're respecting your team by like, okay, now we have to scheme and game plan around what the Dallas Cowboys are doing on defense. So they basically decided to pull out those quick screen passes and things of that nature to get the ball out of Jared Goff's hand. Jared Goff, I don't even think he had a pass longer than 10 yards down the field. So with that being said, that's what they did. Quick hitch. They were quick hitting us, and everybody keep talking about Dink and Dunk Dak. Well, dinking and dunking is what a lot of quarterbacks do in the league. And to be honest with you, if you understand football, dinking and dunking is a very smart idea to do, because if you get little yards here, 8 yards here, little chunk plays, you're eating up the defense. The defense is on the field a longer time, and you're wearing their asses out. And then the next thing you look, they're in the red zone, and you're like, oh, they're about to score. So there's nothing wrong with dinking and dunking, because dinking and dunking opens up for the passing game and the running game. So, Tom Brady did it his whole career. Look how many Super Bowls he got. So, I don't want to ever hear out of nobody's mouth about dinking, dunking, Dak. Shut the hell up. Because every quarterback does it. That's facts. Facts. And it works. Especially if you're a team that runs West Coast type offenses and teams that are like very quick with their offensive line and know how to, shift and motion and things of that nature. Speaking of motion, I'm looking to see the Dallas Cowboys do more of that this week and things of that nature to try to, and misdirection, to try to get the defense of the Falcons kind of off kilter a little bit. Kind of like what the Rams did for our defense. to our defense, I should say. So I look at the Cowboys to do that this weekend today against the Atlanta Falcons. I hate having it's a bittersweet thing. I hate having early games because it's like, I want to build up to it. It's like I wake up and like, oh, 1 o'clock, got to get ready for the game. But when we have like a 4:25 game or 8 o'clock game, it's like, okay, I got the day. I could figure things out. I can sit and meditate. And because, it's hard being a Dallas Cowboy fan. And, the stress level of rooting for the Cowboys is hard. But, that's why I don't believe in bandwagon Cowboy fans, because there are none. Because if you claim to be a Cowboy fan, you got to be true blue, because it ain't easy being a Cowboy fan. Now, I like to bring the silver lining in the conversation to you guys. I don't want to just, bring all the negative. We know that Tyron Smith is dealing with the neck issue, and it's probably more serious than what they said it was. But Brandon Knight is not a bad offensive lineman. They said that Ron Leary's coming in for a visit probably Monday, so I'm pretty sure they're going to sign him. As you guys know, Ron Leary used to play for this team, and he was a really good, but he was a guard though. But I think that, with that depth, you need him, because I know some people were talking about, well, if Ron Leary comes to what does that mean for Connor McGovern or Connor Williams? I was like, I don't think that means anything. I just think they need depth. They need guys. They need bodies, because they're losing them. I know that when we started the season and we looked at the schedule, we were like, oh, we good. We 11-5. But then you get into the game and you're like, okay, well, the Rams beat us. Okay, Lyle Collins is on injured reserve. Leighton Vander Esch got injured. Blake Jarwin's out for the season. Oh my God, everybody's hitting the panic button, but it's week 2. I don't think that you need to hit the panic button yet. I think what it is what we need to do is just calm down, be realistic, understand that like every team is dealing with injuries, and this is where coaching comes into play. Now, I actually feel sorry for the Giants because they got Joe Judge and Jason Garrett up there, and they're not good at making adjustments, so I don't know what they're going to do. Their offensive line is actually in more of a bad shape than the Dallas Cowboys, believe it or not. So when you look around the league, guys, understand that I know that we're so used to having like a dynamic offensive line, like when we had Travis Frederick and all these other guys, and everybody was healthy when Tyron was young before he was injured. I don't know how many years Tyron Smith has in the league, but we know that, you know, he has less years ahead of him than he has than before. But I know one thing: you better draft a high. You might have to get an offensive lineman in the first round next year. That's what I would do. But I love Tyron Smith. He's still one of the best offensive linemen in the game when he's playing. But what it is you don't know what you got with him because he's always injured. Every year is something. And, you know, playing offensive line, all that pulling and tugging and going against those big old defensive linemen, your body is never going to heal. Even in the offseason, it'll heal. But then when you're playing again, it aggravates it right back over again. And, you know, with him having knee and back and ankle and neck, and I mean, he's pretty much had it all. But, you know, Tyron Smith is a game-time decision. We don't know if he's going to play or not. We hope that he does, because if he doesn't, I know fans are going to be like, oh, my God, what are we going to do? But I don't think, like, I think Brandon Knight, he's one of those guys that, like, he's a wrecking ball. I think that once he gets more acclimated and get fitted more with this team, I think Brandon Knight is going to be all right backup. Terrence Steele, you know, some people said that he got tore up in the game, but for what he is, an undrafted guy, he actually didn't do that bad, considering that he was going up against Michael Brockers and Aaron Donald last week. So you got to give him some credit there. That, you know, he wasn't Chaz Green. He wasn't Chaz Green. He wasn't great, but he wasn't Chaz Green. I don't expect him to be great. You're an undrafted guy coming in for the first time, starting an NFL game against one of the best pass rushers in the league. Good luck with that. That's like going from the Pee-wees to the pros in a week. Like, come on now, you got to give people some credit where credit's due, and then you got to give that Rams team their credit. But, you know, that's last week. Now, stats for this week. Dak Prescott is 12-4 at home since 2018. So there's some silver lining there. So those of you guys that are superstitious that go by stats and go by trends, if you're a person that go by trends, it was suggested the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game by these stats that I have for you here. Like I said, Dak Prescott is 12-4 at home since 2018. We play much better at home. Amari Cooper shows up at home. I know that Amari Cooper is still dealing with that foot stuff, and it's like, you know, here we go. Woe is me. But I think he'll be all right. They put Anthony Brown on IR. They promoted an offensive tackle to the active roster. So we're going to have some pieces there, you know, moving around. I know that it's probably not what you guys want, but understand you can't have steak on every plate. And again, I can't stress this enough. This is why coaching is important. I believe that Mike McCarthy is going to get this team together, and him and Joe Philbin. Joe Philbin has his hands. He's got a lot of tasks. He's got a hard task ahead of him with getting his offensive line together. But I think he could do it. He's an experienced coach. So the season leaders at their position so far, I know we only played one game, and to say a season leader is kind of crazy when you look at it, because it's like, okay, the season leader, and like, you know, that whole pro football focus thing, I hate that, because it's like you're rating these guys and we only played one game. Come on now, let's get some chunk games. Let's get halfway through the season and then give me league leaders. But season leaders, of course, Matt Ryan. A lot of this stats for him was garbage time because they still got beat by Seattle. Matt Ryan was 37 of 54 passes. He threw a lot of passes. You don't want to throw that much. And you would think that, okay, you got Todd Gurley now. You got to run the ball. 450 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's the league leader as far as quarterbacks in that stat. And I think Aaron Rodgers is right behind him because they had a high-scoring game too. Ezekiel Elliott, 22 attempts, 96 yards, and 1 touchdown. Of course, it's another touchdown, but the other touchdown was a receiving touchdown. So Ezekiel Elliott is the leader amongst the running backs. And Julio Jones, of course, is the leader on the wide receivers, but there's no surprise there. 9 receptions, 157 yards, and no touchdown. One thing I'll say about Julio Jones is he'll get you, if you have him in fantasy, and I had him in fantasy the last 2 years. This is the first year I didn't do fantasy since I started watching, since fantasy came out. So I didn't do it this year. Thank God. That'd have been a lot of stress with this COVID. I ain't got time for that this year. So I opted out. But Julio Jones, the one thing about him, he'll get you a lot of fantasy points, but he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. It's almost like Calvin Ridley and the other guys score the touchdowns mostly. Julio Jones will score here and there, but he's the one that they're getting the chunk plays. He's getting the deep balls. He's doing all the grit work, and the other guys are scoring. Matt Ryan, he's 6 of 14. 6 of 14 versus non-divisional opponents since 2018. So that's that. If you look at that stat, that's skewed toward the Dallas Cowboys. The Falcons are the only team that Dak has played 2+ times and has 0 passing touchdowns against. So we got to change that, and I think that's going to change today. Dak's going to get a passing touchdown today. I mean, you got your wide receivers. You got Michael Gallup. You got C.D. Lamb. You got Amari Cooper. He going to score a passing touchdown today, guaranteed that. Because we ain't got Chaz Green blocking for him no more. And I know you guys probably go like, oh, don't mention Chaz Green. I know it's like, it's reminiscent. Like, I know you guys are like watching this and seeing like the offensive line, like woes, and you're like, damn, this better not be like the last Atlanta Falcons game that we played against them. I know, I hear you. I understand. Trust me, I hear everything you guys are saying. But I don't think it's going to be that bad because we got a better coaching staff. Matt Ryan has not won on the road in September or October since week 8 of 2017. Ooh. Autumn woes. Fall woes for him. He has not won on the road in September and October since 17. Wow, I didn't know that stat. I had to look that up. I was like, wow. So that means the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game if you go by trends. So these are the silver linings I'm trying to bring to your attention. Trying to bring the positivity into your life. Trying to bring it to your life. So since week 1, offensively, the Falcons are 4th. The Cowboys are 14th. In defense, the Falcons are 22nd in the league. The Cowboys are 26th. Passing, the Falcons are 2nd, obviously behind Green Bay because of all those padded stats. And then the Cowboys are 15th in passing since week 1. Rushing, the Falcons are 29th and the Cowboys are 12th. Now, these numbers are going to change drastically in this game. And you want my opinion? I'm going to tell you right now. I really think that the Cowboys are going to turn this around. I think that in week 1, because again, you got to give Mike McCarthy, and it's not excuses. This is real life. This makes sense. This is what it is. Mike McCarthy, coach of a new team. When you implement your game plan and you're playing for a team, like in training camp, you had 3 weeks to have regular training camp and then get ready for a regular season game. Mike McCarthy basically told Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore and was like, look, go ahead and do what you guys were doing last year under Garrett. Just do how you were doing last year for that first game. And then I just want to see where you guys are. I'm not implementing any of my stuff yet. Because we're going to bring it in slowly. Remember, we didn't have preseason games, so they weren't able to slide these little tidbits and plays in, and these different formations and stuff during that time because there was no preseason games. So again, the start of the season is a little rocky for the Cowboys because of that reason. Now, you don't want to be rocky because these games count. I get that, but I think that Mike McCarthy will turn it around. He's done it in Green Bay many a times. Started the season 0-2 and come back 3 and whatever, and like was able to fix their woes. I still got faith in Mike McCarthy because from his track record with the Packers. I hate when people keep saying that like he wasn't good with the Packers. Just because him and Aaron Rodgers got into it at the end doesn't mean anything. Sometimes when you're a coach of a team for a long time, sometimes you just need a change. You need to be a coach of a different team, of a different quarterback. You need to make those necessary changes and adjustments, but that's just pretty much how that goes. Now, I look at it like this. I think we'll be all right. They're gonna make the changes. They're gonna do what they need to do, and I think you're gonna see a different play in this team this week, especially defensively, because again, you got new guys on the team like Everson Griffin and Don Terry Poe. These guys have to come in and get used to the new things that they're doing. Even DeMarcus Lawrence, you notice that he's standing up now and not always in a 3-point stance. A lot of people don't think that makes a difference, but it does. Because when you're rushing from those different type positions, it makes changes. Yeah, Jalen Smith didn't play that well. But you got to understand that, when Leighton Vander Esch went out, they changed what Jalen Smith was doing on defense. He wasn't the Mike linebacker anymore. So, they switched him to the outside. So with that being said, that's what he was prepping for. That's what he was practicing for, not going back to the middle. So the confusion set in when Leighton Vander Esch got hurt, and he had to go back to doing that, and then Joe Thomas had to come in, but they didn't practice them doing that. So that's where the confusion came in. So I think that this week with them moving Joe Thomas up into Leighton Vander Esch's position, and him and Jalen are gonna work that out with Luke Gifford and Justin March, and I think these guys are gonna come together and figure that out. So that was the biggest thing. Question marks with our linebackers and our offensive line. But I think that if this coaching staff makes the necessary adjustments, and I'm talking about Mike Nolan, I'm talking about Kellen Moore, I'm talking about Mike McCarthy and Joe Philbin, the offensive line coach. All of these coaches, these have to get together, and I'm pretty sure they did this week. Got together, figure it out, and get this win for the Cowboys. I really think this is going to be a high-scoring game. They're going to be going back and forth. Matt Ryan will throw the ball deep. And the good thing about that is I don't think the Atlanta Falcons are like the Rams when it comes to quick passes. They're not doing that. Matt Ryan likes to air it out. That's why his name is Matty Ice, because he's ice. So I give Matt Ryan his credit. He's a good quarterback. But what you got to do is you got to make sure you get that pass rush and get to him. Make his day hell. I'm looking at the matchup between Amari Cooper and A.J. Terrell. I think A.J. Terrell might be primarily on Amari Cooper, but he made a shift a little bit and be on Gallup too. So that means one-on-one coverage on CeeDee Lamb. So CeeDee Lamb should be able to eat in this game. Outside of A.J. Terrell, their DBs aren't that great. And I think that, we see what Seattle did to their secondary. They was throwing all over them. And I think we'll be able to do the same things too. If we do some of those quick passes in the beginning, do some RPO, run a little bit with Dak, because if Dak is a threat of running, they're going to have to respect that too. They're not going to be able to put Amen in the box because Dak will throw the ball over your head. So I think that if we do it the right way on this offense and do motion and do some misdirections, get their defense off their feet and attack quick and fast in the beginning of the game, I think that we can win this game. And that's the biggest key I could give you. And another thing too, keep their offense on the sideline. Make sure that Dak Prescott is on the field as much as possible. Keep our defense resting. Keep their offense off the field. That way, we have more opportunities to score. If we win the coin toss, defer to the second half and let them get the ball first, so we get it in the third quarter, because we normally do better in that. Now I believe that we're gonna win. It's the opening season in the stadium. We're gonna have fans. We know that a lot of our players are used to playing with crowd noise and fans, so we're going to have some crowd noise. So I think that's going to be an advantage for the Cowboys playing at home, even if it's 25% capacity. I think that it's going to be great for Ezekiel Elliott and everybody just to hear that crowd noise to hype them up, especially for the defense. So sorry that the video is long. I had a lot of information to get out. 1 o'clock p.m., Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock Central Time, wherever you guys are. Get ready for this game. Game day predictions. I will say 38-34 Dallas Cowboys. Let's go.